Namaskaram. Hello, everybody. Sudha Ragunathan here in Expressions Espresso, Season 2, Episode 2. I'm really still in a tizzy after the first episode with Chinnakuil Chitrama. Thank you for showering so much of love and affection via your posts. In just a matter of 2 days, the episode clocked over 1.2 lakh views combined on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you, Chitrama, for being so endearing and humble throughout the show, throughout your life, I must say. Eagerly singing to all the requests from the rasikas. Our guest today is another Wonder Woman, one of the most known, loved, and respected actors in Bollywood today. A Padma Shri awardee, winner of the National Film Award, 6 Filmfare Awards, 6 Screen Awards, it just goes on. She pioneered a change in the concept of a Hindi film heroine and is referred to as the first female hero of modern times. Wow. She is credited with ushering in female-centric cinema in Bollywood. She is also a member of the Indian Central Board of Film Certification since 2017. We know of her path-breaking work in cinema, but that apart, she has a very special humane side. Her contributions in the area of sanitation, education, and women empowerment, all of them have been hugely effective. So what are the things that she does when not in shoot? Watching a lot of movies, of course. Yes, she loves cleaning. So I think she must be thoroughly enjoying this phase to binge on cleaning. Long drives, and of course, like all of us, sleeping to bust all that shooting stress. Truly South Indian at heart. This pretty, stunning woman chooses the sari as her favorite outfit. I have great pleasure and honor in welcoming Padma Shri awardee Vidya Balan this evening. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram, how are you?
எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
என்னோட பாலக்காடு தமிழா இருக்கும், so please bear with me. But I'm fine. நீங்க எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
பரவாயில்ல. I mean, in the sense, 3 மாசம் ஆப்புறது இல்லையா? இப்போ வந்து லாக்டவுன் ஆரம்பிச்சு, ஸோ அந்த ஒரு கொஞ்சோண்டு ஒரு impatience set in ஆகுது. பட் இந்த மாதிரி உங்களை மாதிரி அழகான உருவங்களை பார்த்து, beautiful at heart, beautiful to look at. It's such a pleasure to talk to. And the fact about all of you uniformly has been that all of you are so grounded, so humane, so friendly. It's just unbelievable that இந்த எல்லாருக்குமே ஒரு குழந்தை விஷயம் ஒண்ணு இருக்கும் இல்லையா? We have a child in us ன்னு சொல்லுவோம், however old you are. Okay, so now that child in me is coming out and I'm pinching myself to see that whether it's true, it's real. உங்களை வந்து ஸ்கிரீன்ல பார்த்து நிஜமாவே இப்ப வந்து நேரம் இருக்கேன்னு நம்ப முடியல என்னால.
And I can't even believe you're saying this because எனக்கு மட்டும் இல்ல, எங்க அப்பா அம்மா, my family is so excited. எங்க அம்மா என்கிட்ட என்ன சொன்னா தெரியுமா? ஐயோ பாட்டெல்லாம் ரிவைஸ் பண்ணி வச்சுக்கோ.
இங்க என்ன ஆடிஷனா நடக்க போறது?
அதான் Appa, I said there is no need for that. Nan paadu podudillai. I don't think Sudhaji is going to ask me to sing, so I'm safe. But it's such an honor to be interviewed by you. I can't even believe this is happening. And you know, you're so humble. You said all those lovely things, and I wanted to tell you, look who's talking.
I mean, all of us have walked so many miles in our chosen paths, but then, and I take your validation as a huge compliment, because you are such a wonderful achiever, and I'm sure many youngsters are looking up at your trailblazing path to walk those steps. So,
right, thank you.
Let's now get into activity, the talking activity. Before that, I want to present a small bouquet to you of flowers, no, of a raga, yes, of a song that you like.
Yeah.
Mahadeva Sutam Guru Guhanutam Mahadeva Sutam Guru Guhanutam Markoti Prakasham Shatam Mahakavya Natakadi Priyam.
I love this.
Mahakavya Natakadi Priyam Mahakavya Natakadi Priyam Moshikavana Modaga Priyam Mahaganapatim Manasa Smarami Vasishtavamadevadi Vandita Mahaganapatim. Especially for you.
Wow, thank you. This was the first Kriti I learned. And it brings back so many memories. I learned music from Guru T.S. Anantaraman in Chembur, Mumbai.
Yes.
And, you know, I had to quit music because otherwise he would have quit at some point. My mother and sister sing very well, but thank you so much for this. So sweet of you to have sung it.
And there's another smaller bouquet.
Yeah.
Piyo bole, piya bole, jane ja.
Wow!
5 minutes before, and I quickly went to Google. Google is such a varaprasadi, I tell you.
Yeah, really.
போட்டு உங்களுடைய அந்த பாட்டு வந்து எனக்கு எப்போதுமே பிடிக்கும். But then I'm not familiar with it. So I said, okay, let me attempt.
That was lovely. Thank you. And I just completed, it's 15 years to the release of Parinita.
Wow.
So this is all the more special. Thank you.
A clap from all the audience watching you. So it's been a testing phase with those the last 3 months.
Yes.
How have you been handling yourself professionally, and have you been jostled around to finish your movies or for your dubbing or whatever?
Dubbing, yes. I went and dubbed for Shakuntala Devi only last week after the lockdown was released. Relaxed. But, you know, the 3 months actually, I feel they went off pretty well, pretty smoothly, no complaints. And I also feel I don't have the right to complain because, you know, we all, by God's grace, lead very privileged lives. And especially with all that we were seeing on TV, I felt like, you know, I'm not going to say a word. I also got a lot of time at home. I've never spent 3 months at home at a stretch without getting out, and that too with my husband. So I think this was a blessing, and I've scrubbed the house clean. My father said, my father was telling me, "Idam not a cleaner," you know, because he anyway thinks that when he comes to our house, he says, "I'm so scared to touch anything because I feel nothing has moved from the last time I've come here." We're both very finicky about cleanliness, but I just enjoyed cleaning my house. I've done I've also tried to cook. I read a little, watched a lot, and slept a lot. So I really think it's been good. It's been fine.
Yeah, as you said, I don't think we can afford to complain because God has kept us so well, all of us. And I
Yeah,
think we, in turn, should be helping the people around us, those who need the
absolutely.
help. Have you been helping you have all these people helping you in your schedules?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thankfully, everyone around me, my team is well taken care of. But I've also been trying to do other things, associating myself with causes to raise funds, of course, contributing, donating on my own, but
Yeah.
also, requesting other people to do their bit. So, for example, we started a campaign where we were raising funds for
Okay.
PPE kits for medical professionals across the country. And I kickstarted the campaign, and then slowly they got various other actors and male and female actors to join in. So you can go to the Tring website. The campaign is still open. So sorry, I'm going to talk about it a little because this is
Please do,
the
Vidya.
need of the day. So you can just log on to www.tring.co.in, select any actor or actress you like, and just donate kits. It can be one kit, it can be 10 kits, it can be how much ever more. People sometimes have donated 1,000 kits, 2,000 kits, but I'm saying every little one matters. And we've got a very good cost. So these kits are delivered directly from the manufacturing units to the hospitals. And you'll get an intimation of which hospitals, how many PPE kits have
Oh,
been delivered. So it's a very transparent process.
so where do we
I
go?
think
Where do we log in?
so www.tring.co.in, Tring,
Okay.
Tring, as in
Okay.
tring.co.in. Yeah.
Okay.
So please, whoever can, please donate as
Definitely.
much as you can. Thank
I
you.
will do. I will do. Yes.
Thank you.
You spoke about music in the family,
Yeah.
uh, and that you learned from Anatharama
T.S.
Bhagavath.
Anantarama
Yeah.
Bhagavatar. Yeah.
ஸோ அதனால எங்களுடைய தாழ்மையான ஒரு விண்ணப்பம், ஒரு சின்ன பாட்டு பாடணும். அது எந்த பாட்டா இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல. கர்நாடக சங்கீதம் இருக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை.
I'm going to shock you now.
பாப்போமே, அதிகம் தான் பாப்போமே.
என்ன பாட சொல்லாரே நான் கண்ணா பின்னா பாடி போடுறேன். You know
Now
what?
you really
So
shocked me.
This was the Dapankut party we heard on a bus ride to, I think we were going to Tirutani. This was when I was in the 3rd standard or something. And through the night, they played this song. So this is, and whenever someone asks me, yeah, but it's also very easy for me because whenever someone says sing, I'm like, என்ன பாட சொன்னாரு.
ஆனா ரொம்ப குறைச்சலா படிக்கீங்க. ஒரு லைன் is really not enough actually.
அதுக்கு மேல தெரியாது. But I'll
I'm not going
I
to.
don't know what.
You
Maybe
want to
more later.
still go ahead. I mean, without.
We can go ahead and towards the end I'll sing so that everyone has the option of exiting. Otherwise, people will leave this chat quickly.
Okay, what kind of music do you enjoy, though? I mean, besides
Growing
Carnatic.
up, yeah, Carnatic, actually, while growing up, Carnatic was a huge, huge influence. And I'm very, um, I feel very ashamed to say that I've lost touch with Carnatic music lately. I was very glad, I was thrilled to hear you live. That was the last live concert that I heard last year. But it's very rare now, otherwise, Fine Arts Society in Chembur was a place where we went to for concerts all the time. And my mom played music first thing in the morning, of course, M.S. Subbalakshmi, Suprabhatam, that was there, Vishnu Sahasranamam, and then, of course, lots of other artists. M.L. Vasantakumari, Maharajapura Santanam,
Right.
Balamurali Krishna. Growing up, that was a huge influence. Also, my father and Ranjini Gayatri's father are very close friends. So whenever, uncle would also encourage us to, as in he would bring us tapes and say, "Oh, you must hear this," and he's very enthusiastic and all that. So that was there. But I think now it's probably Hindi music from the 80s. R.D. Burman is someone whose music I enjoy a lot. And thanks to what is that called? Karwa, Saregama Karwa. One is able to revisit a lot of old songs now. So invariably, that's the music I listen to. And my husband's introduced me to a lot of, Bob Dylan, and he listens to a lot of Western music. So I've gotten introduced to that. I won't say I'm into it yet, but it's a familiar sound. Yeah.
So Natkhat and now Shakuntala Devi are taking the path of digital release. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely.
So is this going to be the way forward for quite a while now, you think?
Because everyone is so confused at this point. There's so much uncertainty. So no one has the answer.
Yes.
But, Shakuntala Devi was due to release on the 8th of May. And we obviously couldn't release.
Yeah.
And our film was ready, barring a few dubs. And so we decided that, this is a great way to reach people across the world, to release it on an OTT platform, because now I don't know when films will start releasing in theaters. And even when they do, what is the occupancy going to be like? These are questions that, are causing a lot of concern for the industry. So it was a conscious decision to release it in OTT, and it should be out on Amazon Prime by the end of July or latest early August.
Wish you all the very best. I'm sure it will be a big success.
Thank you so much.
Shakuntala Devi was one person I really looked up to because my sister was so good at math, and I was never next to her. I was always one rung lower, and then she would really get 105 out of 100 because she studied Cambridge.
Wow!
So you have the choice in your questions,
and you would get 100.
She would never leave out anything. So when you total her marks, it would be more than 100. And then I would sit there and kind of feel so let down that I'm not so good. But then when Shakuntala Devi Amma came to Sophia Convent on one occasion, and it was like looking at a goddess. But then I was only in third standard or second standard, so I didn't realize the value of that at that point of time.
But it's so amazing. Everyone I meet tells me, she's come to our school. I feel like mine is the only school she missed out on, because everyone says she's come to my school, she's done a show. Of course, people from the industry have also consulted, had astrological sessions with her. But it's just amazing the number of people who have Shakuntala Devi experiences. But I'm very curious to ask you. You said you were one rung lower than your sister. So what were your marks, like 100?
94 or 90, between 94 and 6.
Oh, you and your...
Yeah, it's definitely lower than her.
It is lower than her, but 94 and 96 is great.
But
you were an exceptional student, I'm sure.
She was source of inspiration, and
I'm sure.
You kind of feel anything less than 100 is not really accepted.
Right.
So now tell us about the movie Shakuntala Devi. We'd love to hear from you, because how did you get into that skin? Into that role? Yeah. Because she's no more. And
no.
How did you get her body language. She has a way of walking, the way she lifts her face. And there's a, I might say there's an arrogance in her.
Yeah, there was, I think, and I had access to hours and hours of conversations that my writer and director had with Shakuntala Devi's daughter Anu Banerjee and her husband. So I had already begun to get a sense of the person, and then of course, whatever there weren't too many videos of her on YouTube, but whatever I could get access to, videos, pictures, I would see. And I realized that, there was this, like you said, she walked with a certain, she was larger than life. And it's incredible because in the 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, she was traveling the world, wowing audiences everywhere. And she would speak to everyone, like really without any kucham. She wasn't at all she wasn't shy. So I think she was a feminist way ahead of her time. All that also helped me understand the person and hopefully get into the body language. Once you all watch the film, I'll know whether I've succeeded at my job. But I think it was more the spirit of Shakuntala that I tried to capture. I remember when the first poster came out, some people said, "You don't look like her." I said, "Yeah, but you can't obviously look like every character you're playing, even if that's a real person." But therefore, my attempt has been to capture her spirit, because there's not much information otherwise in terms of visuals, not too much available.
Imagine
But
if
it's been great fun.
had been at this time and in this era of digital with WhatsApp and all that, if she had been born in this time, imagine the hype she would have got.
Yeah, it would have been unbelievable. But hopefully, people will just be able to appreciate her genius. For the younger generation who isn't aware of Shakuntala Devi, hopefully they'll get introduced to her and enjoy her books and the kind of stuff that, of course there are the puzzle books and all that, but the variety of books that she's written a book of recipes.
Wow.
She's written a book on homosexuality. So there's nothing she couldn't do. I think that was hopefully, people will, because when you talk about mathematicians, of course, you talk about Shakuntala Devi, but not as much, I think, as you talk about Ramanujan or Aryabhatta. So hopefully, this film will make that happen. Yeah.
So did you have those long dialogues with all those numbers to rattle off and,
Yeah.
How did you muggify all that?
I never got 94 and 95 in maths, but I enjoyed maths in school. So I realized when I did the film that for everything we have the phone, Ilya. We just use the phone to store numbers. And I used to be fairly good at remembering numbers. So that came to my aid while shooting for this film. And I actually enjoyed it. After a time, it was like, okay, bring it on. What else do you want me to remember?
I'll be good.
As long as you don't ask me to do the calculation. Patirka.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are a few songs. Of course, today it's all background. Nothing is lip sync. That's something that I miss in films. I love lip sync songs. But unfortunately, we're not doing that much lip sync anymore.
Now I'm going to talk about your short film. Natkhat. Yeah. It addresses the fact that no matter how many reforms and institutions we set up to address female oppression, change can only be brought about by parenting and teaching children the values of equality. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I think that's what it's about, because we are talking about, of course, reforms, we are talking about laws, we are talking about changing mindsets through education. But I really think it has to all start at home. And it's not just what you tell the children, it's what they see.
Right.
It's the equations they see between their parents. Even the subtlest things children pick up on, they're extremely sensitive and sharp. We underestimate them actually. So I think if at that stage it's addressed, we can hope to have a society where, men and women are truly equal. And I think also that we don't realize how deeply embedded patriarchy is in our systems. Even for someone, I like to call myself a feminist, but around the time that I was doing this film, I realized that I better start calling myself a feminist work in progress. I
Right.
think because I think we don't even realize the how deep that conditioning is, where we put the man before us. Whether it's our fathers, our brothers, our
Yes.
husbands, our sons. There is that slight. There are times when my husband tells me, "Tell me where you want to go to eat," for example, and I'll say, "No, no, you decide." And he's like, "No, you tell me where you want to go." And I've been brought up in a family where we're two girls, my
Yes.
elder sister and me. We've been brought up with every freedom, and yet somewhere you feel that you have to put the man before you.
அது வந்து அந்த சிஸ்டம் நினைக்கிறேன், அந்த கல்ச்சர்.
ஆமா. But I think அது தப்பு. you know
Right.
அது we have to அது திருத்த.
ரொம்ப வெது ஊறி போயிட்டோம் அதுல. அதுல இருந்து வெளியில வரதுக்கு your generation can begin that.
Yeah, I think our generation, but also more importantly, that how we bring up the kids, because like I said, we are all aware that we have the right to be equal, and we are working towards that. But like I said, they're held back by some of those deep-seated beliefs that's very difficult to shake off. So therefore, I think it's the kids. It's our kids who are really going to hopefully see a world where it's a more equal world.
Nice. It's even to hear it, it sounds so good.
Yeah.
Truly
it's
hope
a reality. Yeah.
உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஸ்கிரிப்ட் கிடைக்கிறதுன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. ஒரு ஸ்கிரிப்ட் எடுத்துன்னு ஒரு டைரக்டர் வரார். ஓகே, he tells you the story. நீங்க வந்து உடனே ஓகேன்னு சொல்லிடுவீங்களா, இல்ல அத வந்து மல் பண்ணி மைண்ட்ல வந்து அப்படியே போட்டு அத chewing the cudன்னு சொல்லுவோம், அப்படி டைம் எடுத்து அதுக்கப்புறம் you decide to do the role, or how what is your process?
For me, it's very instinctive. If I'm able to see myself in the role, I feel like, oh, maybe I should read the script. Narration aanadhukku kapram, I take some time. I take a few days to revisit, to read the script myself and see how, because sometimes chelave rombave nanna narrate panva. So you can get flawed by that narration. So it's not necessarily a good script. This I've learned over the years. Some great directors have narrated so beautifully to me that I've said, wow, aprama. So I know
சரி,
that
அப்படி உள்ள அப்ப நீங்க படத்து உள்ள இருக்கீங்க. Okay, when you realize that, என்ன பண்றீங்க?
இப்போ thankfully ஒரு 10-12 வருஷமா அது ஆயிட்டில்லை. That sort of thing has not happened to me. But before that, I used to be heartbroken. Right. I used to be like, because these are people you've looked up to, and you don't think that they're going to sell you something to get you to do the film, and then actually the film turns out to be different. That's I feel that's very heartbreaking. I would give an arm and limb to work with you anyway, so just be honest with me. But that maturity has come with experience. Around 2008, I began to do what they call the female-centric films, and then that has not been happening, thankfully. But it used to be heartbreaking when it happened in the past. It used to really break my confidence.
Right.
Yeah, because you're like, what do I? Adukapram, I started saying, if you give me the script, I will consider it. If there's nothing on paper, if you just narrate it to me, I'm sorry, with no disrespect meant, I will not.
Right.
I'm not going to give, I'm not going to
Acceptance.
be able to consider this, yeah, because it's very, very tricky. But after the narration, like I said, I take a few days, I read the script, and then if I again feel like I want to do it, then I go ahead and do it. And sometimes, you do films for other reasons. Oh, like great director, I want to work with the director. But over the years, I've realized that it has to be a combination of things. It can't be a bad script with a great director.
Right, right.
That nothing can, you know. And
Yeah,
sometimes
you have to
everything
be
is
prepared.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes things, it doesn't seem like a great script, but my heart just tells me that you should do this. And then I go ahead and do it. Because anyway, it's not so much about success and failure one can't control.
See, but when your
But
heart is in it, maybe you will compensate or offset a
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
what is deficient, right?
Yeah, absolutely. May I ask you a question?
Sure.
I've often wondered, what do you do? It's a live audience, right?
Okay.
What do
Yeah.
you do when you have a headache or you're not in the mood to sing?
There can never be not in a mood to sing situation, because
Right,
I think, yeah, like you said now, one gains in that kind of a mature thinking after a
right.
certain distance you've traveled. So yes, in case I have a headache, I have to pop in some pills, and
Mm,
then I do meditation mainly to
maybe.
take that
Right.
headache off. So the headache really doesn't go away, but it brings the weight of the,
Yeah,
makes it a little numb.
yeah.
But maybe that day's concert uh, might not be so great, in my opinion, but it
Mm,
would arrive at a certain standard for the audience.
right,
Unless
right.
and until you're down with a very bad voice problem, or
Yeah,
when you have these coughs and colds
yeah.
with the virus and all that. I don't even want to say that word now, because virus means something disastrous these days.
Yeah, exactly.
So when
No,
you're down with that, it's difficult to connect with an audience, because the voice is the medium of communication between the
yeah,
artist and the audience.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
that is under repair, then it becomes a tough call.
Right.
But I think mostly most artists who have traveled in the sense
Mm.
in the journey, are
Yeah,
able
of
to
course.
cope with this, because every day you can't be feeling well. I mean, you accept a concert 6 months in advance and suddenly
Yeah,
you
correct.
fall sick that day. You can't help that. But you
Right,
manage,
right.
you cope that, you
No,
overcome.
I didn't actually mean you don't feel like singing. You don't feel like singing in front of an audience. Does that ever happen? You feel like I wish I could sit here and just sing at home.
Yeah, that does happen. That does happen.
Yeah?
Then what I do is I just close my eyes and then I'm with myself.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
even realize that there's an audience in front of me.
Yeah.
It's for the swanubhavam. நான் எனக்கே
Yeah.
படிக்கிற
Yeah.
மாதிரி ஒரு
Yeah.
உணர்வு.
Ama.
That
That's
happens.
lovely.
Yeah.
Because with live audiences, that's always I've
It's
always
always a
wondered.
demand. It's always a responsibility on the artist. You have to be
Yeah.
good. You have to
Yeah.
cater to what the audience requires. There's no,
Right.
one or two. There's no plan A, plan B.
Correct.
There's only planning.
Right.
So I'm going to take you back several years, maybe
Yeah.
more than a decade. All
Hmm.
these screen tests happen, okay,
Yeah.
and they probably make you speak something or rattle off a dialogue, or I don't know what you did. But do you remember of any screen test?
Oh, yes. For Parinita, I did loads of screen tests 15 years ago, 16 years ago. But
Okay.
even before that, I remember I used to test a lot for ad films. For every ad film, you had to do an audition. So I remember some of them. I remember my first ad film audition, and I remember some of the Parinita auditions because sometimes they would play a song and they would say just lip sync. Sometimes they would say just smile into camera. Sometimes I remember my last test, the test that got me Parinita was a test when I looked into camera. I had to look with a certain, there was it's the kind of expression which cannot be expressed in words. So my director kept telling me there's a lot going on. It's actually in the film, it's the first shot of the film when I turn towards the camera with my pallu and my pallu falls. It's my introduction shot. So they were testing me for that, and I was so angry by then because the test I thought maybe they were sometimes I thought maybe they're testing my little finger or my toe or something, because how many tests can you go through? So that day I turned into camera and I was very angry. So the cinematographer, Binod Pradhan, he came to me and he said, Vidya, I've known you since your ad film days. And you've always enjoyed being in front of the camera. Forget the pressure of this video test, this audition. If you get the film, great. If you don't, there'll be other opportunities. When he said that, sometimes I think God talks to you in someone's messengers. Yeah. And I feel the weight lifted. I felt like it didn't matter whether I got this film anymore or not. So I turned towards camera with a certain, I don't know what there was. Of course, there must have been anger. There must have been that I don't care energy to it. And that was the one that Binod Chopra saw. And he called me and said, I could sense that you were abusing me. And I'm so scared that I'm giving you the film.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I remember.
But in the screen test எல்லாம் அந்த ஒரு மாதிரி அபிநயம் தான பண்ண சொல்ல ஒரு மாதிரி டான்சரோட ரோல் தோன்றது எனக்கு when you have to act something.
Yeah, correct. It is, and at that point I think thankfully after that I've not had to do any auditions, but at that time it is, it is like that, and this was an old world character. It was another time. She had to have that almost lyrical quality to her, and and I actually feel I should have been born in the 60s and should have been in films in the 60s. So even before the 60s. Why? I love the film. I love the films from the 60s and 70s. I think I'm of course very happy with the kind of work I've been doing, but I think those films had a great charm. The music was great. There was great romance. There was poetry, the dialogue bazi, the drama. I love all of that.
You said it right. The poetry in the romance.
Yes, yes.
ஒரு பாட்டு ரெண்டு பேர் பாடினால அதுல வந்து ஒரு என்ன lyrical quality என்ன ஒரு அத பார்த்துட்டே இருக்கலாம் போல இருக்கும். You identify yourself with them.
Exactly.
I must tell you a small secret. I watched Parinita thrice.
Wow.
One was in the lockdown time once on Netflix.
Really, I'm so flattered. Thank you. I didn't know it was on Netflix. I should also watch it.
And the Piyu Bole.
Yeah.
And the scene is so charming. அதே மாதிரி ஸ்ரீதேவியும் கமலும் பண்ணிருப்பா ஒரு சீன். எந்த படம் எனக்கு இப்ப ஞாபகம் வரல. சிவப்பு வறுமை நிறம்
ரோஜா.
அவ வந்து தந்தனானா அப்படின்னு ஏதோ ஒண்ணு சொல்லுவா. அப்புறம் I think he puts in the words.
Oh really?
எனக்கு வந்து அந்த சீன் வந்து நான் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணி திருப்பி பார்த்தேன் உங்களுடைய பரிணிதால.
Really?
ரொம்ப பிடிச்சது. I mean சொன்ன இந்த quality of that subtlety and a lyrical quality, a kind of a poetry in it.
Right.
It was done very well. It was done with a lot of sensitivity. Yeah. So from a Parinita to a Kahani to a Dirty Picture to a Pa to a Tumari Sulu. Yes, Sulu. I've not seen that movie.
Please watch it.
I will. Yeah. Very different genres of movies. So was it a conscious attempt so that you wouldn't be stereotyped as just a heroine who has a song and a dance sequence and maybe some love scenes?
I tried doing the typical Hindi film heroine bit in two films, and I, I, it was a terrible experience for me. I didn't enjoy it. I have to be honest, I didn't respect it. So I sleepwalked through those films, which is why I got a lot of criticism after that. And today I have a lot of respect for people who do those 4 songs and 2 scenes also, because they do it with such conviction. I
Yes.
didn't have that conviction. But thankfully, what happened is after that, I felt, now I should do the kind of films that speak to me. And that was the time that Ishkia, Pa, No One Killed Jessica, Dirty Picture Kahani, all of these came to me one after the other. And I said, I'm someone who gets bored very easily. I need a newness, which is why I think I would fail miserably doing theatre, because I wouldn't be able to revisit the same script with renewed energy for every performance. So when these roles came to me, and some of them were risks, but I said, this is why I'm an actor, not to play myself, to live different people's lives. If I'm getting the opportunity, I should just jump at it, and I did. And so I think then people realize that, she's open to doing all kinds of roles. So
Yeah.
then slowly people started writing roles for me. Some people who had just scripts which they thought would never get made, they came to me and said, okay, can we make this? So
Mhm.
I think overall, that's how it's happened. So not really, I didn't go after variety, but I think it's my boredom, because I get bored with things very easily, that pushed me to.
You made variety come to you with just one
Yes, yes.
actors. Yeah. I still remember your Kahani scene where you walk down the streets with your hand like this because your stomach is so
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. What used to happen? I remember this incident so clearly in
Okay.
Kahani. I was shooting in a little street, and there was this old woman who saw me. She didn't know what shoot was happening or anything. She said, "Oh my God, pregnant woman." So she asked me to sit down. She put a
Ah,
chair outside her house. She got me tea. And I was like, my God, enjoying this, because we were shooting in the middle of a street. There were no chairs, nothing, and I used it to my advantage.
so actually, I mean, though I do have a few questions about the script and dialogues and how you practice your scenes, I think we already spoke about it, right? As we,
Right,
we
right, right.
merged a few questions. But
Yeah.
at this point, I would like to ask you about any scene that you thought was really challenging. I mean, it's impudent to ask that. It's cheeky of me to ask that because
No,
all
no,
that you
not
have
at all.
done is, I mean, you've done it with so much of elan and that kind of, it's my movie, that I shouldn't be asking you that. So, but then
No, no,
there could have been some scenes
absolutely.
where you went over it again and again and you were not getting to the soul of the particular scene.
Yeah. It has happened. It has happened more than a few times actually, because I think in every film there is that one scene which bothers you. At least one scene, you feel like there's something you're not finding the connect with that scene, and then you think, okay, I'll deal with it when we're shooting for it. And then that day, the fact that you've not been able to connect actually worries you, and that is added pressure. And it could be a really simple scene sometimes. It could be walking from here to here. But to do that with conviction and honesty, sometimes it's so difficult.
Hmm.
Like I was asking you about a headache, sometimes you're just not in the mood. And you have to do a scene and you have to be someone else. It could be anything. Maybe something's upset me. Maybe I'm feeling unwell. Maybe I've had a fight. I don't know. Um, so on those days, it is a struggle. But if I think of, let me see. I'm thinking of an easy example. Pa, for example, was a film I was really worried about because I had to play mother to Amitabh Bachchan. And I was like, firstly, when Balki came to me, I was like, I thought he'd gone mad.
I was
You
coming
know,
to the
because
question about Pa and you started. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So I
So,
was going to
you know,
ask you,
you
how was it to work with Amitabh ji and with someone so much older who you treated like a child?
yeah,
It's like
it
a
was
paradox.
when Bharti came to me, I thought, success has gotten to his head. He's lost his marbles. How can I play mother to Amitabh Bachchan? But then, um, when I actually read it, I was like, wow, I want to do this as an actor. But there was a fear in me. I was like, Amitabh Bachchan's personality is very, poised, slightly intimidating because of, I've grown up watching him. So I was like, but as a son, I have to be able to just hit his head and say, or hit his cheek and say, affectionately, like,
Yes.
So I was like,
Yes.
how am I going to do it? So I was chewing Balki's brain, saying, I want to do readings with Mr. Bachchan.
Right.
So finally, 3 days before shoot, Balki calls me one day and says, okay, you want to do a reading? Come to Mr. Bachchan's house. I'm doing a look test with him. So we'll do a few pictures, family pictures. Abhishek and you also get into costume. And then we'll see if we are able to do the reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran, Abhishek and me were ready. We were both chatting. We've done Guru before that with Mani Ratnam. So we were both, just chatting away. Suddenly someone comes into the room. I turn and I see a 13-year-old boy, Oro. That moment is one of the most magical moments for me in my career. I didn't see that imposing figure, Amitabh Bachchan, anywhere. He came, Balki said, okay, we'll do some family pictures to put in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I did the pictures and then I turned to Balki and I said, I don't need the reading. Because, acting is about reacting and he brought that out in me. He made
Yes.
me feel like a mother.
Instant.
I, yeah, I felt like I wanted to protect him. I felt like I cannot express that in words. That magic happens when, I guess, with great artists, it's just when you saw him, you didn't see him. I
Right.
guess that's why he is Amitabh
That's what
Bachchan.
you
But
think. Yeah.
yeah, and through the shoot, luckily I didn't see him through as outside of makeup. So he would come, he would be in his van,
Mm-hmm.
and we would meet only on set. Because I didn't want to meet him also as Amitabh Bachchan. As a kid, when he was in hospital after the coolie accident, every day I used to tell my mom, you have to take me to the hospital to see him.
Wow.
And she would say, okay, naaliki kootindu poren. Basically she had to just,
Yeah.
uh,
Appease
you
you.
know,
Say yes.
appease me. So for that girl to have played mother to him, I thought was, and it's only because of that magical moment that I could do it.
But I think you would have really cried, right, in that movie. Besides the fact that they made you cry, I mean, in the
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
for
yeah,
acting you cry, but நிஜமாவே
yeah.
அழுதுருப்பேன்னு
Ama.
தோன்றது. அது
I, you
எந்த
know,
scene?
Ure incident, I go to drop him to school. Now, Oro is not doing very well health wise. He's gone into hospital. And then I go to drop him to school and அவனுக்கு கொஞ்சம் கூச்சமா இருக்கு because I'm a 13-year-old boy and my mother has come to drop me. So he says, no, no, you go, you go, you go. And he steps out of the car and I just wave out to him. He stepped out of the car and I don't know what happened to me. I started crying. You know, again, that is, I think sometimes those lines between real and real get blurred. I used to feel those days. I remember the scene in which he dies. I was uncontrollable.
Wow.
I cried so much, and we had a wonderful actor also, Arundhati Nag,
Yes.
in that scene. And I remember Balki telling us that you mother and daughter can cry just as if the tap has been opened. But it was a very moving scene. I guess these things you can't express. I can't even describe it properly, but it was
No, no,
once in
I
a
can feel
lifetime.
that because in between your sentence, in between your words, that little pause that you give is explains the emotion in you. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, just like me, everyone is feeling that. I'm just going to rattle off a few names,
Yeah.
because so many are watching this episode. We
Yes.
always acknowledge their presence.
Yeah.
Sikil Mala Chandrasekhar, Janaki Ramakrishnan, Vidya Varadarajan, Sudharma Vaidyanathan, Gatam Uma Shankar, Swarnamalya Ganesh, a lot of artists, Vidhu.
Yes, yes, I'm aware.
Yes, Shilpi Ravi, Shailaja Khanna, Shankari Krishnan, Jyoti Mohan, Usha Ramesh, Jyoti Daswani, Jaya Subramaniam, Shobana Dilip, and flautist Jayant. There's a question from Vidya Varadarajan. Is
Hmm.
there a Tamil movie from our dear Vidya Balan? Next.
Oh, I'd love to do a Tamil film, and I'd love to do a Tamil film like a nice Maniratnam relationship, like a Maunaragam. That's one of my favorite Tamil films. I'd love to do that. And I'm also aware that there are lots of younger directors who are doing great work.
Great work, yes.
So yeah, I'd love to do a Tamil film.
But is there something
And
that's being dialogued with you right now?
no, not at the moment. So hopefully soon.
Shilpi Ravi wants to know, this has to come later, but well, I've started it, so I'll finish it. Wants
Right.
to know your favorite Indian cities, one, two, and three.
மாட்டி விட்டுட்டாலே
மாட்டி விடுறதுக்கு தான் இந்த கேள்வி.
Mumbai, of course, it's the
Of
city where I
course,
was
of
born and
course.
brought up.
Everybody understands.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And Calcutta is a city that's very dear to me because I've spent a lot of time there. Next to, after Bombay, if I've spent, the most time somewhere, it's in Calcutta. So that's a
Mhm.
very special city. And the third would be, I think, oh, I feel like saying
Say Chennai,
Bangalore.
say Chennai. Because
Chennai,
Chennai is watching
Bangalore.
you now.
No, I was going to say Bangalore and Chennai.
We can't
Yes.
put Chennai equal to some other city. No.
No, okay. Unfortunately, I haven't visited Chennai in really long,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'd love to because I don't think I've really explored Chennai the way
Like it,
most people
like
speak
yeah.
about the city.
We have
Yeah,
wonderful silk sari
I
boutiques.
know that, of course.
Showrooms. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and you have a lot of
and your
warm
temple
hearts.
jewelry, of course, and very cool people, and
Yeah.
such appreciation for art.
Art. Yes.
Absolutely.
Adulation. They really, kind of, it comes from the heart. When they
Yes, yes.
when they like and love somebody, it's the way they look at the person, you can say that, yes, this is someone who loves my music, this is someone who loves my acting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
a national
sure.
award and 6 Filmfare awards, and you have a separate identity for yourself. You have created that groove. Did you ever think of the possibility of the national award for the dirty picture?
No. As a matter of fact, before that, I remember in the year that Pa had released, a lot of people told me that you stand a very high chance of receiving the national award, and that didn't happen. Then the next year they said it for Ishkia, and that didn't happen. Then the dirty picture happened, and I wasn't even those 2 years. I didn't think much about it. I I didn't think I never think in terms of awards. But then suddenly I was actually promoting Kahani. I was in Dubai. I was going to step out for a press conference. I was in Dubai for just one day. and I got a call saying, "You've received the National Award for the Dirty Picture." I thought this was very crucial because, for a National Award, normally you have um, a certain kind, there is a certain, I think, she's almost like a flawed character, no? And you don't normally, even if you get audience appreciation for it, it's to receive a national award for this character, I thought was a very big thing.
No, but you have to understand that the award is for your acting.
Yeah,
Acting,
yeah.
Somebody, getting into that role and doing it flawlessly.
Yeah, but the perception, na? Because people did tell me that on this one it's difficult because I remember those conversations happening around that time, and I was like, I've never thought about it. I'm just going to go about doing my work. So I thought that was all the more special. And they had written a very beautiful line in my certificate, which said that for bringing dignity to the character. So
See,
I thought that was, yeah. So I was very, very
what
grateful
happens
for that.
to you when people say, you're going to get the award for this, you're going to get the award for this, and you come close to it, in your mind, those aspirations are lifted to a point of expectations are lifted, and it doesn't happen. Why do you think it doesn't happen? Or how do you feel when it doesn't happen?
Thankfully for me, I never thought in terms of awards.
Great.
But I've received quite a few by God's grace. So I'm very grateful for them. But I don't think in terms of the awards. I just want to enjoy my work. And as long as I enjoy my work, I think that's the biggest blessing, because being an actor is the only dream I've ever had in my life. So I'm actually living my dream every single day. And nothing can be bigger or more precious than this. So everything else is a bonus. It's the icing on the cake. But when I've not received an award or something,
In
I
the
think
sense,
I've
people
been,
like that. Suppose, now let's take your role in Power.
yeah.
You did it so naturally, so instinctively, so sensitively that people say, yes, Vidhu, you're going to get the award. And then you also have put in your best foot forward.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. That's miss between the lip and the cup, they say.
Yeah. But with the national award, because you're not even aware of the kind of work that's happening in the rest of the country.
Yes.
So I've never taken it for granted that, in Hindi you can still say, oh, maybe I stand a chance. But when it comes to the national award, I don't think you can ever guess that. Because unless you've seen the work from across the country.
It's a panorama, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Bengali, Tamil, Kannada,
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. And that year, a Bengali actress got the best actress. So, absolutely fine. I remember when Bhool Bhulaiya released, which was Mani Chitratar in Hindi. And my father was very upset that I didn't get any awards. But after that, 4 years in a row, I got the Best Actress Award for Pa, Ishqiya, Dirty Picture, and Kahani. So I told him, I said, look at it, the universe has more than blessed me. So you don't have to worry. He felt very bad. He thought I deserved it for Bhool Bhulaiya.
But as you say, it does happen. It's all written there. So
Yeah.
whatever happens for good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you watch a lot of movies, Southern languages?
I've now begun to watch films because it's easily accessible on Netflix and Amazon. Because otherwise it releases in very few theaters in Bombay. So to get to the theater at that time past few years I've been out of touch. But recently I watched a film called Super Deluxe.
Super
And I
Deluxe,
thought,
yes.
yes. And so interesting.
Yes.
New language of cinema and all of them were
And a new style
amazing.
of new technique of doing things.
Yeah. So it was very interesting because I'd not seen anything in a while. And of course, I went and watched Kabali in the theater, but that
Can you whistle? Do you whistle?
I can't whistle, but I wanted to take a whistle with me. But there were enough people. We watched it at Aurora. There were enough people standing on top of chairs, on the top of their seats, jumping, throwing money. So even that was a parallel show happening.
Okay.
I think when you go for these shows, and we went for the first show. So when you go for these shows, you have to revisit the film because you miss out so much in all this craze.
But when you go to the theater, don't people flock you and ask for your autographs and selfies and all that? Or do you go in late, a little late?
No, no. Actually, in Bombay, it's quite relaxed. We go to the theater in South Bombay because there's no media there. That's my only concern. This side of town, there's always media that's clicking you when you're going into the theater, coming out, and all that. But we go towards town, we watch our film. Of course, people come for pictures, but they're very respectful, so it's fine. And in the case of Kabali, they weren't interested in me. They were only interested in Rajni sir. So it makes you see life in perspective.
Now there's something common in us, I felt when I planned to ask you this question. It's about criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Warranted, unwarranted, both happen. And I think both of us in our own fields have been targets in different ways.
Right, right.
And we, as mature professionals, have taken it in our stride, not worried about it, not bothered about it, kind of thought ourselves even bigger than that, larger than
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But the unwarranted criticism, I've had bucketfuls of it and sometimes overflowing. But I've developed my own ways of, handling all of that. And it doesn't
Right.
bother me. I think my family is very strong. My husband is extremely strong. And he's the pillar who says, let him say anything, it doesn't matter. So
Wow.
how do you handle this?
I think initially it used to bother me terribly. I used to cry a lot. I used to feel like at a certain point in my career, I thought maybe I should just pack my bags and leave. You know, leave as in just
Yes.
nowhere to
And
go. But,
yeah.
I thought I had to abandon my dream of being in films. But I think again, family support, my parents and my sister, she's 4 years older than me, Priya, and her husband, my brother-in-law, they've all been very strong pillars at that crucial time in my career. They each said something to me
Hmm.
that made me stick on. I remember at one point I was criticized heavily for my weight, and my mother said, weight you can get the right nutritionist, right trainer, you can work, lose the weight. You can't give up because of that. My
Right.
brother-in-law said to me, "Why did you become an actor?" I was being criticized a lot for my clothes. So my brother-in-law said, "Why did you become an actor? Did you become an actor to be a clothes horse?" I said, "No." So he said, "So then focus on get experts to do what they're best at doing. Get yourself the best stylist or whoever. That's not a reason to quit." My father, for example, has always been, um, someone who's given me a lot of courage, just by example also, because he's growing up, he had a very tough life, but he's not someone who quit.
Hmm.
He's always had a great amount of self-belief. So he infused that. And he would say things to me, that would give me a great deal of courage. And my sister again. So I think these pillars really, and I think my faith that I would go to
Yes.
bed
That's
crying
supreme.
sometimes. Yeah, I would literally, my pillow would be wet because I'd be crying so much. But the next day, I'd wake up and say, okay, I'll give it one more day. Let's see what happens. Because that hunger in me as an actor was not ready to
Yes.
give up. And these were not enough reason. This was not reason enough to give up. And I would go to a Sai Baba mandir close to my house. I would go daily and sit there and talk to Sai Baba and say, you have to take care. You brought me to it and you will take me through it. So I think all of this, and thankfully I also married a man who at home, while he appreciates me as an actor and is very supportive, um, at home I'm just Vidya to him. You know, I think
Yes.
that makes all the difference. When you feel that your success and failure does not impact your relationships, that is very reassuring.
I do say that, Vidhu, in a different way. When I walk out of the
Yeah,
front door, I'm Sudha
yeah,
Ragunathan. When I
yeah.
walk in, I'm just Sudha.
That's
So
wonderful.
I can really relate to what you're saying. Yeah. So
I'm
Tilaka
sure.
Murthy wants to know what was the most challenging script
For
thus
me,
far? Yeah.
uh, I think the most challenging was definitely the dirty picture because as a character, her personality and mine are as different as, the North and South.
Yes.
So to just embrace that, I think it was tough. And my director, Milan Luthria, would keep telling me, if you judge her, people will judge her. If you embrace her, people will embrace her. So I would keep reminding myself that.
Hmm.
And thankfully,
It worked
because,
out.
yeah, it worked out.
Rama Subramanian says her experience of working for an NTR biopic. Biopic?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I played NTR Garu's wife,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that at all.
yeah,
How's that?
yes, yes, yeah. So it was actually one film that I signed up for. We ended up making two parts because there was so much content on him. I enjoyed the experience, extremely professional, and I thought speaking in Telugu would be difficult, but I managed. Of course, someone else dubbed for me.
Of course, yeah.
The actress Sarita, she
That's right.
dubbed. Yeah, what a wonderful actor. She dubbed for me. But because they felt that, the Telugu had to be, mine was sounding a little modern. They needed the Telugu to sound like someone who had come from,
Andhira.
she had spent her childhood in the village and more traditional. So
Hmm.
finally, but it was a great experience. I enjoyed that.
I have to watch that. Put it on my wish list.
It's a small role, but I enjoyed the experience. I also last year did a Tamil film, a special appearance in a Tamil film
Ah, with
called
Ajit.
Neerkonda Parvai. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
with
And
Ajit. Yes.
I had a lovely song in that. Um, I enjoyed working with Ajit actually. Such a
But my
humble
heart
man.
broke when you quit so early. I mean, because you were killed or you, no, yeah, in the hospital.
Died, yeah, in childbirth, yeah.
So if you were to describe yourself in 3 words, not sentences, 3 words, you already said one.
uh,
Faith, you said.
yeah, faith. The other would be wow, love. I think so. Uh, and happiness.
Wonderful. I
Happy.
would also add hardworking, focused,
Oh,
never
thank
give
you.
up, your never give up attitude. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
needs to take a leaf out of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So these,
If we can revisit that conversation about criticism, I want to know, does it still affect you? Or
what?
I'm sure the criticism.
Criticism? It depends on what they hit out at. If
Yeah,
it's the
right,
music, it's easy to take it. Because
right,
you know why you're doing certain things and you can explain it
right.
to them. But sometimes it's not really the music. As you said, it's about the costume, it's about this, and it's about your weight. So similarly, they would do something like
Mm,
that.
mm.
Then it becomes a little difficult, and also I kind of become very tall and ask myself, why should I be answering them? It's
Right.
my prerogative to take decisions in my life,
Absolutely.
and it's my life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I guess
And
we overcome all of that with that kind of an attitude. And as I said, Raghu's, I have to give complete credit to him.
wow. Sounds like a wonderful man. We need
Yes, he's
more
very,
people like him.
very opinionated, but then at the same time, very supportive. There are two sides of
Yeah.
him. One which I don't agree sometimes because he always says, man is I'm the man of the house. I said, no, I'm the woman of the house. No man. அந்த விஷயத்துல கொஞ்சம் disagreement வரும் எப்போதுமே.
Right. But
இது
that's
வந்து
what
ஒரு
makes it
quick
exciting
round இது.
also.
இது ஒரு quick round because we've
Yeah.
gone past 1 hour. Can you believe that?
Wow. I
1
can't
hour
believe it.
and 2 minutes almost.
But this has been so easy and
Thank
enjoyable
you.
that I didn't realize it.
Thoroughly enjoyed myself. You were born on the day of the English New Year.
Yeah.
How does
First
it
of
make you
Jan.
feel? Everyone
It
celebrates your birthday.
Yes, it makes me feel wonderful. I love my birth date. Previously I would feel like, oh my God, everyone is partying on my birthday. They wake up so late, they wish me so late. But now, I think uh, after I grew up, I think I began to enjoy the fact that, the world is partying. Even if it's not partying with me, they're all celebrating.
You
Yeah,
said
yeah.
happiness factor, right? So
Yes, yes, yes.
I think that exists just with your birthday. So what does God's own country mean for you? I mean, does it mean cuisine? Does it mean tradition? Does it mean the environment? What do you love
God's
about it?
own country, Kerala, I think the greenery. The greenery is just, of course, my roots also, because
Yes.
both my mother and father come from, we are Palakkad Ayers. My father comes from Palakkad, my mother comes from Guruvayur, though she was born and brought up in Bombay. So my roots, the greenery, I think, when you think of clean air, there's a reason it's called God's own country. And the third reason would be Mata Amritanandamai, Amma.
Mm.
Yeah, I absolutely love her. And she comes from there. So it means all these things for me.
So which is your most loved character that you have gotten to thus far? And which would you like to do from now?
Um,
I know it's difficult to
I
answer
think,
that because
yeah,
it's not fair to ask you that.
it, it is tough, because I feel like every film is a child. So how can you choose one over the other? But since Shakuntala Devi is the most recent experience in my memory now, I feel like I enjoyed playing her. She's a bundle of contradictions and the most complicated character I've played. So
Hmm.
I've enjoyed that. It's again not something I've done so far. Uh, and sorry, you asked me
What did I ask
uh,
you? I must have
a
forgotten. No,
favorite
no, no.
character.
Favorite character thus far. And from now, what would you like? Is there something that you would like to do, portray? Like a
I'd
wish
like,
list.
yeah, I'd actually like to. I'd love to play Indira Gandhi, and I hope that happens someday. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. No.
Oh, I think I've lost charge on this. Is this better?
Yeah, just speak out. It's just a few more minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who did you
So
say?
Indira Gandhi.
Indira Gandhi. Okay. I heard the Gandhi, but I didn't know
Yeah,
whether it was. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
It couldn't have been anything else. Yes. So, which is the best compliment that you've gotten? And even if you don't tell us who gave it to you, what was the compliment?
I think when someone tells me that they don't see me on screen
Correct.
as an actor, when they say, I didn't see Vidya, I think that's the best compliment that one can receive. And thankfully, I've got it a few times.
And the kahaniல வந்து you go to the hotel and say, my name is Vidya, right? This is Vidya.
Yeah.
No, we Vidya.
Yeah. Because the Bengalis don't have bird, no? They all say Vidya.
So I really have to say goodbye to you now because I think I shouldn't be imposing on your
No, not
free
at all.
time, really. It's been such a pleasure. I can't tell you in words. It's impossible to put them in words.
I can't either. It was so lovely talking to you. It was so easy. Thank you so much for this. Thank you for having me on your show and for singing for me. That was really precious.
Thank you, and may you get wonderful roles, and may you be with us. When I say us, the audience, be it Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, Marathi, whatever, Bengali, Yara Ardalo, we all should love you forever.
Oh, thank
That's
you. That's
stay
thank you
healthy,
so
stay
much.
safe, and that's all I can pray to the Almighty through my music to to bless you
Thank
with
you so
wonderful
much.
roles. I don't even say more awards because when I say wonderful roles, you will automatically reach that destination.
Thank you. And God bless you with great health and every happiness. And we
Thank you.
we all love you anyway. Like my mom says, uh, Perumai. We feel Perumai. Is that
Thank you
the correct one? Yeah.
very
So,
much.
we
Thank
are
you,
all.
Vidya. Good night.
Thank
Good night.
you. Good.
I'm sure you all enjoyed this wonderful session. I think Vidya opened her heart to all of us and to many of the questions that were put forth to her. Let's hope we see her on the Tamil screen very soon with a female centric role. And you, my dear audience, give us the feedback as you always do. The strict lockdown in Chennai really makes us more responsible. The need to conform to all the norms, stay safe, eat healthy, and thank you once again for all the appreciation and the positive energy that you have been conveying through your posts. It makes us move and walk forward. If we have arrived at a season 2 and we are on the second episode, it's all because of you. Namaskaram and good night.